My name is Chris Morgan. I want to welcome you all. Glad you could make it. And I'd like, without further ado, to introduce our first speaker, the President and CEO of Keyfile Corporation, Jim Stenzel. Jim?
Good evening and welcome. We're pleased to see so many of you here tonight, including members of the press, users of Keyfile, resellers, associates, friends, and employees of the company. I'd like to take a couple of minutes here to introduce some of the other members of the Keyfile team. First, our two other founders of Keyfile, Ralph Wagner, if you'll stand. And Bill Chakowski, who's our Bill's our Vice President of Engineering. The other members of the management team are Rich Fraser, our Vice President of Sales. And Mark Templeton, our Vice President of Marketing. Mark will be demonstrating Keyfile live on these screens immediately after my introduction. I'd also like to introduce Billy Layden. Is he here? At the conclusion of our presentation, please feel free to ask questions of anyone on the Keyfile team. And after that question and answer session, we'll serve coffee and dessert and invite you to put Keyfile through its paces at the computers that are positioned around the ballroom. You'll see some of the many ways that Keyfile can be used by individuals and work groups in the office. We'll also have press kits available for the press at the end of tonight's event. And of course, if you have any other questions, the entire Keyfile team will be here for the rest of the evening. When we established Keyfile over 2 years ago, we had a vision. That vision was to create a software package to solve one of the major problems in business today. That problem is document handling. Despite all the advances in computerizing the office, current PC applications are just islands of automation. Computers have automated some of our tasks, but not all of them. We use what we used to do with ledgers and journal books, we now do with spreadsheets and relational databases. What we used to do with typewriters and with scissors and glue, we now do with word processors and desktop publishing. But sitting on the desk right next to the computer are folders and piles of paper. Alongside the automated process, there's a manual process. There really has been no automation of filing cabinets, desk drawers, the documents that are the central work product of the office. But piles of paper are really just a symptom of the problem. Dealing with the paper, filing it, retrieving the documents, keeping track of them, it's hard. It's too much work. The solution is to automate the management of documents. And then there's the workflow problem. Office procedures can be as simple as distributing a memo for comment or as complex as the process of authorizing a bank loan. These procedures take time to implement and track. Imagine how much better it would be if the computer could manage the process. Track the documents, keep track of who has them, and what needs to be done to complete the process. When we founded Keyfile, we realized that if we could only solve a fraction of the document management problem, we'd be making a giant step forward in automation. Up till now, however, the technology simply didn't exist to break the paper jam. There was no way to automate file cabinets, desk drawers, or the documents that define our daily work in the office. But in the past few years, there's been a remarkable confluence of technologies, of hardware advances and software advances. These enabling technologies make a product like Keyfile possible. We've utilized these underlying technologies to create the software that you're about to see tonight, a product that's already generated a tremendous amount of excitement. What is Keyfile? Keyfile is the first software with all the functionality you need to completely handle both electronic and paper documents. We call it integrated document management. If you will, Keyfile is a computerized administrative assistant that keeps track of all of your documents, knows where they're stored, and makes sure that they arrive where they're supposed to go. It will revolutionize the way you work with paper and electronic documents. Keyfile lets users file, retrieve, share, and distribute thousands of paper documents and electronic documents using your existing PC assets, using standard PCs, networks, mass storage devices, scanners, fax boards, all of the things that today are part of the standard PC environment. It's also very important that Keyfile is fun to use and eliminates drudgery. In order to replace the manual process, Keyfile needed a user interface that was so simple, so compelling, that it's more fun, easier, more desirable to do your work on the computer screen than to do it by physically shuffling papers on your desk. Achieving that ease of use that we needed meant developing a lot of technology. During the past 2 years, the development team wrote over 560,000 lines of code, and that's a spectacular feat. They also spent countless hours tweaking the product and doing quality assurance on the product. This software has really been put through its paces before we've released it. Here are some of the technologies that we've developed in creating Keyfile. And at this point, I'd like to extend our congratulations to the entire Keyfile development team headed by Bill Chakowski for their extraordinary work during the last 2 years. We're especially pleased with the early response to Keyfile on the part of large corporate users and analysts who've been working with the software over the past months. Here's a quote from Sheldon Laub. Sheldon is National Director for Information and Technology at Price Waterhouse. This is the reaction of Bruce Silver, Director of Image Management Systems at BIS Strategic Decisions, a market research firm specializing in image management. Mary Rhodes is Vice President and Director of the Intelligent Document Management Research Service at New Science Associates. As I said, we're very pleased at the early reception to our product. We're also pleased to announce the Keyfile is shipping now. In fact, it's been shipping since August. Without a doubt, Keyfile extends the usefulness of the PC in daily business work. I firmly believe that Keyfile's flexibility and ease of use will expand the use of personal computers to more people and more functions within the office. Keyfile is unique in many ways. And one of the most important ways is that Keyfile is automating those functions in the office that have never been automated before. And now I'm going to turn the proceedings over to Mark Templeton, who will give you a live demonstration of Keyfile and show you the features and ease of use of this remarkable product. Thank you.
Little setup here. That's a good start. You know, setting up a demo before you can actually see the product, you have to listen to some marketing talk. And I think of a little story of my daughter who asked me about what happens when people die. And I said, well, you know, that people go to heaven. And she said, well, what happens when you get to heaven? Well, I said, you know, everything's sort of white and cloudy and light and everything. She said, well, what, do you get a car? I said, well, no, you don't get a car. You know, they give you wings. They issue you wings when you get there. So she said, wings, I don't know how to fly. So well, you have to go to school to learn how to fly. She said, oh no, I got to go to school again? So you have to go to school a little bit so I can give you a little overview of Keyfile. Well, the excitement's building and we're almost ready to unveil the product, but first a little background. Keyfile is the first software, that lets your PC handle both paper and electronic documents. That's why we call it software for integrated document management. With Keyfile, all your office documents move effortlessly between people, desktops, file cabinets, printers, and fax machines. Keyfile is the breakthrough that eliminates the drudgery, frustration, and labor of handling documents in today's networked office. Whether you're working with an Excel spreadsheet, a critical contract, important customer correspondence, or any office document, Keyfile has all the tools you need to file, retrieve, share, and copy your documents. Keyfile's advanced features like document keywording, OCR support, job maker workflow, document annotation, full text indexing, DDE support, archiving, and email gateways make it easier than ever to solve all your document handling problems. Keyfile's client-server design works with the PCs, networks, scanners, fax boards, OCR software, and printers you use today. At its heart is the advanced storage technology of Keyfile's document server. Running under Microsoft Windows or OS/2, this powerful server can keep track of millions of paper and electronic documents. That means requests to file, retrieve, and distribute your documents are instantly handled by the server